Welcome to the final reckoning of a life spent chasing empty pleasure in the dark. You're here because you've seen the aftermath. You watch the narcissist drift through their youth like a velvet-clad hunter, devouring people and discarding bodies as though beauty and desire would never run out. You saw them turn sexuality into a bargaining chip, purchasing devotion, with lust and funding attention through betrayal. But time is the one lender that can't be manipulated. Today, we're opening the books on the lust debt. We're about to witness the moment the biological invoices arrive and the narcissist understands that the cost of their hollow victories carries interest they can no longer pay. Have you ever wondered what happens when the music cuts out? Maybe you still see them trying to dance, but the house lights are up now and the disguise is cracking. The question that keeps survivors awake is often, will they ever truly pay for what they did to me? The answer is etched into the chemistry of their aging body. The narcissist didn't just damage your heart. They spent their entire life borrowing from a future they swore would never come. Now that future has arrived, knocking with a foreclosure notice on their ego. The celebration is over, and the quiet afterward is unbearable. Picture a man or woman who once believed they were divine because they could command desire at will. They built an empire on the unstable ground of physical attraction, never realizing that sand slips through every hand eventually. For years, they treated people like disposable power cells, draining them dry and replacing them with something newer and brighter. But as the narcissist ages, the replacements stop responding. The hunter, wandering familiar territory only to discover they're invisible to the very group they once dominated. We're entering a psychological thriller where the villain is finally sealed inside a room with no exits. This isn't about revenge. It's about the universal law of cause and effect. The narcissist used lust to escape intimacy. Now, intimacy is the only thing that could rescue them from the void, and they no longer know how to feel it. They stand on the edge of a spiritual abyss. Worse, realizing that every one-night encounter was a brick laid in the walls of their own cage. They aren't just aging, they're becoming spiritually insolvent in a world that no longer accepts their fake currency. Man, you've been told to move on, to find peace, and to ignore their carefully curated happiness online. But look closer. Beneath the filters and desperate thirst traps is raw panic. The aging narcissist is a gambler who's lost their final chip but refuses to step away from the table. They're terrified. They stare into the mirror and see a stranger. They don't know how to love because they spent decades loving only the reflection of other people's desire. Without that reflection, there is nothing left. The lust debt presses down like a psychological anvil, slowly crushing their ability to breathe. Blend, their greatest weapon, was always making you feel like you were the one missing out. They convinced you that you were too much or never enough, while they chased the next dopamine rush. But lust is a drug with a savage crash. Each hit demanded a stronger dose. And now the high is gone. They're in biological withdrawal that no surgery or frantic hoovering can cure. They're addicts for validation in a city that's run dry, and the withdrawal is shredding their mind. This is the hidden truth survivors need in order to heal. You were never the problem. You were the collateral. They weren't choosing others over you. They were running from the collectors of their own soul, fleeing the truth of their inner emptiness. Now, as their strength fades and their looks decline, that truth has caught them. They're forced to face the reality that they traded depth for illusion, and the illusions are dissolving into darkness. My Linda, in the chapters ahead, we'll dissect the grotesque decay of the narcissist's final stage. We'll explore why intimacy becomes humiliating, why their social world collapses to the size of a coffin, and why the ultimate cost of lust is unbearable isolation. This is a psychological collapse. You are no longer the victim. You are the witness to a masterclass in self-sabotage. The narcissist believed they were designing their destiny, but they were constructing their own inferno. Don't turn away yet. You need to see how this story ends. You need to know that the person who tried to break you is now being dismantled by time itself. This is the truth that restores your power. They didn't win. They delayed the bill. And the interest has been compounding every second you've been free. The lust debt isn't just symbolism. It's a neurological and spiritual reality that ensures the narcissist reaches the end of the road in total trembling insolvency. Prepare yourself for an unflinching analysis. We're moving past surface level advice and plunging into the machinery of the aging ego. We'll uncover what the narcissist thinks about themselves when the lights are off and the phone stays silent. By the end, you'll understand that no contact wasn't merely self-protection. It was the moment you refused to pay a debt that was never yours. Let's begin breaking down the final cost. Means to grasp the lust debt, we have to start with the neurochemistry of sensation seeking. In a balanced brain, intimacy is guided by oxytocin, the bonding hormone that creates safety and long-term connection. The narcissist's brain, however, runs on dopamine overload. They don't want the steady warmth of a fire. They crave the violent burst of a firework. For years, they chased novelty, pursuit, and conquest highs. That constant overstimulation burned out their neural circuits. Like an addict, their receptors downregulated, leaving them biologically incapable of calm and trapped in perpetual craving. They suffer from somatic objectification syndrome. Because they reduced others to tools for pleasure, they eventually reduced themselves the same way. Their body became their only asset, their sole weapon, and their entire sense of worth. As time dulls that blade, the narcissist experiences complete identity collapse. There is no self beneath it, only a performance. And when the stage starts to fall apart, the actor realizes they never learned the script, only how to strike a pose for applause. The lust debt is rooted in intimacy starvation. The narcissist spent youth starving the soul to feed the ego, avoiding real connection, vulnerability, and the work of genuine closeness. Compromise, the intimate knowing of another human soul. These were prices they refused to pay. They craved the rewards of intimacy without making the deposit. Now, in their wussers and lickersers, they stand emotionally bankrupt. There is no shared history of struggle with a partner, no deep roots of trust, no stored wealth of authenticity. They are spiritually homeless, drifting through the wreckage of their own vanity. There is a particular kind of shame that festers in the somatic narcissist's core, the shame of expiration. They are horrified by the thought of becoming outdated. Every gray strand signals approaching irrelevance. Every wrinkle fractures the armor of their grandiosity. To survive this terror, they often intensify their recklessness. They chase even younger sources, dive into more extreme fantasies, or fall into sugar daddy or sugar mama arrangements where Attention must now be purchased instead of effortlessly claimed. This is the accrued interest on the debt, the humiliation of paying for the illusion of being desired. Damped now, consider the mirror of judgment. In youth, the mirror was an ally, affirming their dominance. As the lust debt matures, the mirror becomes a ruthless prosecutor. Body dysmorphia sets in, fueled by narcissist injury. They cannot tolerate the truth that they are no longer the alpha or the siren. What follows is a frantic, graceless war against biology. They become exaggerated versions of who they once were. Excessive fillers, aggressive hair dye, outfits that shout, "I still matter." They scream for recognition while the world's attention has already moved on. Inside, their psyche is barren. Having never developed an inner life, they rely entirely on external validation for survival. This is their oxygen. When the lust to supply collapses, they begin to suffocate. Narcissistic mortification sets in, a burning, unmanageable shame. They lack the ability to self-soothe. Seeking is all they know. And when there is nothing left to chase, the hunger turns inward and consumes them. Bitterness hardens, resentment deepens. Anyone still nearby becomes a target for their toxicity. The lust debt leaves behind a legacy of emptiness. While emotionally healthy people spend midlife enjoying the returns on long-term bonds, children, grandchildren, enduring friendships, the narcissist is still scattering seeds across dead ground. There is no legacy supply. Their children often despise them or have cut contact entirely. Former lovers sit in therapy recovering from the damage. When the narcissist looks back, they see scorched earth and collapsed bridges. They reach the end of the road holding a suitcase filled with nothing. Strong imagery is required here. The narcissist's ego is a parasite that has exhausted every host. Having consumed everything around it, it now turns inward. This is emotional cannibalism. The rage once hurled at you is redirected at their own reflection. They despise themselves for aging, resent the world for moving forward, and loathe you for surviving and flourishing without them. Their inner climate is a constant fever of bitterness. Sexual bankruptcy marks the final phase of the debt. The somatic narcissist's sexual behavior was never about connection or pleasure. It was about control. With age, maintaining that dominance becomes impossible. Physical decline becomes a psychological disaster. If they cannot perform, they feel erased. They experience sexual anhedonia, an inability to feel joy in the very act that once defined their superiority. What once empowered them now produces anxiety and confirms decay. The ultimate punishment is being trapped inside a body that can no longer satisfy the demands of an entitled, ravenous ego. And at its core, the lust debt is a confrontation with nothingness. For decades, the narcissist ran from the truth of their emptiness. Lust was the noise they used to silence the void. When the supply fails, the silence becomes thunderous. They stand alone in a desert, realizing every oasis they chased was a mirage. They are fundamentally alone, and for someone who only exists through others, this isolation is a living death. The turning point arrives when the narcissist understands the supply chain is irreparably broken. For years, they believed they were exempt from nature's laws. That charm made them immortal. Then one day, they enter a room and the shift happens. They deploy their familiar tactics, but instead of interest, they receive pity, or worse, indifference. This is the instant the power flips. Their invisibility cloak is gone. The protection that once shielded them from aging consequences has been stripped away. This sparks a narcissistic panic that can last for years. The debt has reached full maturity. There is no refinancing. Desperation sets in. They begin panic hoovering, contacting you, exes from a decade ago, anyone who once reflected their former glory. They are scavenging for retroactive supply. They want to be remembered as they were, not seen as they are. They try to steal your memory to repair their present. When no one responds, the panic mutates. They become stalkers of their own past. This is where they attempt to falsify the ledger. Suddenly, they've found God or healed their trauma. It's another evasion tactic, a bid for spiritual bankruptcy without real accountability. But the lust debt is etched into biology and psychology. It ignores reinvention. The body remembers betrayal. The nervous system, their enlightened persona, feels just as empty because the debt is coded into their DNA. The final collapse comes when their children or family execute the ultimate discard. In youth, the narcissists charm their way out of responsibility, posing as the fun parent too busy chasing desire to actually show up. Now, those children are adults with boundaries and no reverence left. The narcissist finds themselves excluded from weddings, absent from holidays, blocked online. Social interest on the debt is being collected by the very people they failed to love. Faced with this loss of control, the narcissist responds with malignant petulance, rage, spite, and helpless fury at a world that will no longer bend for them. They transform into They broadcast stories about their ungrateful children and their heartless ex-partners, attempting to cash in whatever social currency they have left for one final dose of sympathy. But pity is a weak substitute supply, and it never satisfies a lust-driven hunger. It's like a fine dining addict being forced to eat greasy fast food. The downgrade burns constantly. This is the cost of every moment they chose desire over responsibility. Here is the psychological twist meant for you, the survivor. You eventually realize that their so-called freedom was a carefully disguised trap. While you were in the discipline of healing, learning self-wholeness, and emotional strength, the narcissist was in a reckless spending spree, draining every asset they had. Now you possess the wealth of resilience, and they are left with the poverty of fixation. The power dynamic. They are the one monitoring your social media now, staring at your calm, puzzled by how you managed to turn the pain they caused into growth. The narcissist's sexual life devolves into dark comedy. To keep the lust debt from crushing them outright, they descend into behaviors that are increasingly embarrassing. They may enter a midlife relationship that unsettles everyone around them, hoping to siphon youth from their partner into their collapsing ego. But that partner is often another predator or a wounded person seeking financial gain. It's no longer romance, it's a transaction. The narcissist knows this, and the loss of illusion devastates their identity. They begin experiencing phantom supply. Alone, they reread old messages, revisit past trophies, and scroll through conversations from years ago. They are chasing echoes of a high that no longer exists. This is psychological foreclosure. They inhabit a house built entirely of memories because the present is unaffordable. They hoard the past because the future appears empty. The breaking point comes when they realize the past is sealed shut, and they no longer control the narrative. Bibliological justice steps forward. Their physical health starts mirroring the decay inside. Stress disorders, chronic pain, and the toll of decades of surface-level living emerge in the body. Charm no longer works on medical charts. They become dependent on systems they once ridiculed. They must ask for help, and for a narcissist, dependence is humiliation. They understand too late that they spent their lust instead of cultivating care. Now there is no one to sit beside them in sterile waiting rooms. This chapter closes with their final surrender to bitterness. They accept that the debt cannot be escaped. They stop pretending to be charming and turn openly hostile. They become the resentful elder who despises youth, joy, and life itself. They have defaulted on existence. The long, slow drama reaches its climax, revealing the narcissist as small, frightened, and completely insolvent. The bill has arrived. The collapse is not sudden, it is a prolonged implosion. The aging narcissist enters social liquidation. Friends who were never true friends, only enablers or party companions, quietly disappear. No one wants to linger beneath the shadow of a rotting ego. Invitations dry up. Silence expands. They are left in a total supply vacuum. The true cost of lust is revealed as absolute quiet. They sit alone, staring at a phone that hasn't vibrated in days, realizing they are no longer relevant in the game of life. The bodily consequences of the lust debt appear as a specific somatic suffering. Their body becomes a record of betrayal. Surgeries meant to erase age instead create something uncanny and artificial. They don't look younger. They look altered, distorted, unfinished. This is the physical interest on the debt. In chasing perfection, they destroyed authenticity. The mirror reflects a grotesque mask sculpted by vanity. They are a gallery of regret wrapped in skin. The panic evolves into a psychological haunting. Ghosts of former supply appear everywhere. They remember your face, not with affection, but with envy. You escaped. Desperation drives them to stalk your digital presence, searching frantically for proof that your happiness is false. They want a fracture they can point to. When they see you thriving, it hits like psychic whiplash. They finally grasp the true price of lust, losing the one person who once saw them as human. Financial collapse often follows. They burned money chasing relevance, cars, clothes, trips, and attention bought to preserve an image. Now they face aging with no safety net. Economic vulnerability strips them of grandeur. They are forced into an ordinary life. And for a narcissist, ordinariness is annihilation. Every dollar once spent on lust now demands repayment in insecurity. Social exile becomes permanent. As the mask fully erodes, their nature is exposed. They no longer have the energy to love bomb new circles. Communities recognize the toxicity. They are expelled from the social heights they once dominated. They become outcasts, left to trade supply only with other damaged individuals or opportunistic scammers. Their reputation becomes a closed account. No one invests in them anymore. Then comes the bedroom collapse. The place where they once felt invincible becomes a chamber of dread. Desire fades or disappears entirely. Psychological impotence sets in. Lust, once a shield against emotion, turns into disgust. They recoil from themselves and their partners. The act delivers nothing. They are sexually numb. For a somatic narcissist, this is total mutilation. They are condemned to a celibate purgatory built by their own choices. Haunted by memories of sensation, emotional dementia follows. They lose the ability to convincingly imitate human feeling. The empathy mass disintegrates. Cruelty becomes overt. Malice is no longer concealed. This sparks a secondary collapse. The last few people who remained out of obligation finally walk away. The narcissist enters a spiritual vacuum where even pretense is impossible. They drift through their remaining years as social specters, cut off from the emotional bloodstream of humanity. Is a discarded object. They are the forgotten toy no one reaches for anymore. They spent half a century reducing people to objects, and now reality mirrors that choice back to them. They are seen as the aging figure in the corner, ignored, irrelevant. Their opinions carry no weight. Their charm fails, and their sexual interest is perceived as unsettling rather than alluring. This is the ultimate degradation, being handled with the same cold objectivity they once used to wound others. They cry out for recognition in a world that has already moved past them. What they experience now is the final form of isolation, not merely being alone, but being unknown. No one truly knows them because they never allowed anyone inside. They approach the end of life as strangers to their own existence. They stare at trophies, photographs, and possessions and recognize that these items are lifeless and silent. There are no warm memories to sit beside them. The cost of lust is a frozen soul with no thaw in sight. They are locked inside their vanity, waiting for a rescue that will never arrive. The consequence is total identity erasure. Near the end, the narcissist finally understands that the false self was a Ponzi scheme. They borrowed identity from lovers, admirers, and conquests. When the supply vanished, the identity collapsed. They face the mirror and see emptiness. A blank page at the end of the book. The lust debt is settled in full, and the final payment was being erased from the hearts of everyone they ever touched. Here is the truth that lands hardest. You were never the victim of their lust. You were the bank they tried to rob. They didn't choose others over you. They defaulted on the loan of your love. They fled because they couldn't afford the interest of authenticity. Now you are free from the toxic debt of that bond. While the narcissist is bankrupt, you are invested in your healing. Their payment is your growth. You are rich in wisdom. They are impoverished in desire. This is emotional closure. You see that no contact was not abandonment. It was a strategic withdrawal of capital. By leaving, you foreclosed on their control. You reclaimed your energy, your light, your future. The narcissist is left holding the bad debt of their own decisions. You don't need karma. Your happiness is karma. The final price they pay is witnessing your wholeness beside their fracture. Your peace is the invoice they can never clear. Hidden truth revealed, their fixation on the past is a confession of defeat. Every hoover, every lingering glance at your life is proof that you were the only real asset they ever possessed. They scavenge your memory because the present yields nothing. You are the benchmark they can never reach again. You are the diamond exchanged for plastic, and the regret feeds on them endlessly. You are empowered because you are irreplaceable. Their misery is permanent because they cannot reconcile their debt. They are trapped in perpetual default. New supply won't save them. The rates are too high now. They are structurally incapable of joy. Your healing endures because you did the work. Their suffering endures because they avoided it. The cost of lust is a life condemned to surface living. They are trapped in the shallows. You are moving in the depths. You survived a biological war. They tried to siphon your vitality to preserve themselves. But life cannot be stolen. You regenerated. They decayed. The price of lust is neurological collapse. Their pleasure circuits are burned out. They cannot feel the world anymore. You can. Warm sunlight, honest friendship, the calm of silence, these are the dividends of integrity. You are wealthy where it matters. Lamb cinematic close. Picture the narcissist in a gilded hall of mirrors, shouting demands for desire, validation, power. The mirrors fracture. One by one, the false selves vanish. At last, a single mirror remains. They look and see you, not who you were, but who you are now, strong, luminous, free. They reach for the glass. It trembles and shatters. Darkness falls. The ultimate cost is cosmic silence. They screamed their greatness for a lifetime. Now no one hears them. They have become a non-entity. Lust ended in spiritual erasure, forgotten while still breathing. You, however, resonate. Your story heals others. Your pain became purpose. You have a voice. They do not final empowerment mantra. I am not supply. I am a source. I am not debt. I am value. I was not discarded. I was released. They are paying. I am collecting. My life is mine. Brutal truth, the narcissist is dying in a desert of their own creation. You are living in an ocean of possibility. Do not look back. There is only dust and debt behind you. Let them crawl in thirst. You have a well that never empties. The account is closed. The predator is foreclosed. The celebration is over. The debt is paid. They are alone. You are free. The final entry is written by you. I survived. That is the price they could never afford. Bland final truth. They lost you. And that was the moment they became truly bankrupt. Now, go live as the wealthiest person you know. The end